Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about the two important figures in the global struggle for Black liberation, Francis Fanon and Martin Luther King Jr. They had very different approaches. One believed in revolution, the other one in reconciliation, but both wanted the same thing: justice, freedom, and dignity for Black people around the world. Let's start with Frantz Fanon. Fanon was born in 1925 on the island of Martinique, which was a French colony. He was educated in France and later became a psychiatrist, but what really shaped his life was moving to Algeria, where he joined the fight against French colony rule. Fanon wrote powerful books like Black Skin, White Masks, and Wrecked of Earth. He argued that colonization didn't just take lands and resources, it also messed with people's mind. It made Black people feel inferior, like they had to become someone else's to be accepted. Fanon believed that in order to be truly free, colonized people have to rise up, even violently, against their oppressors. Now, he wasn't glorifying violence. He didn't support it just to destroy. He believed violence could be a tool to restore dignity, to help people reclaim their identity and self-worth after years of being dehumanized. But Fanon also warned, just to kick out the colonizer isn't enough. If corrupt local leaders take their place and repeat the same system of control, nothing really changes. Now let's look at Martin Luther King Jr. Born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, King grew up in the American South, surrounded by segregation and racism. He became a pastor and, like Fanon, used his voice and his word to fight injustice, but his method was very different. King believed in nonviolence. Inspired by Jesus and Gandhi, he thought love was the most powerful weapon. He led protests, gave speeches, and wrote about how justice could be achieved through peace resistance. One of his famous lines is from Letter from Birmingham Jail, where he said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." King didn't just want laws to change, he wanted hearts to change. He dreamed of a beloved community where people of all races could live together in peace and fairness. Unlike Fanon, King grew more radical over time. He began speaking out against the Vietnam War, poverty, and economic inequality. He knew racism was connected to a bigger system of injustice. So, where do Fanon and King agree, and what difference do they have? They both believed that racism destroyed human dignity. They both wanted to build a better world where Black people could be free and proud of who they are. But their methods were almost opposites. Fanon thought that violence was sometimes necessary to break the chain of colonization. King believed that violence only made things worse, and that nonviolence was not only moral, but smart. Fanon said that dehumanization is always a violent phenomenon. King said violence as a way of achieving radical justice is both in practice and immoral. And another big difference that they have is that Fanon thought that people needed to leave behind the culture of colonizers and build something new. King wanted Black Americans to claim their full right within American democracy to make America live up to its own promises. But both warned about what comes after liberation. Fanon feared corrupt elites. King feared a society driven by hate and materialism. Both of these men were part of what we call the Black Atlantic, a global movement of ideas, cultures, and resistance that connects Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas. Fanon's ideas reached people fighting colonization all over the world, from Algeria to Angola to Caribbean. King's philosophy of nonviolence inspired people in South Africa, India, and even US. Anti-war movement. Together, they give us two different ways to think of freedom. Fanon give us revolution, King give us reconciliation, but both are essential to understanding the full picture of Black liberation. And so to wrap up, Fanon showed us the raw anger and urgency of people who have been crushed by colonization. King showed us the power of hope, love, and nonviolence in the face of hate. They disagreed on how to get there, but they were walking towards the same goal, the world where Black people are free and respected. Thank you. That will be all for today.